It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we have to break down some news that went down. So I'm here with Joel. We're going to break it down together. What's good, Joel? How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I didn't want to make this video, but I kind of have to. Just want to break it down. The news we're breaking down, if you have not heard this news, I don't know where you've been, but Ian Rappaport at 11:52 this morning tweeted, 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel suffered a broken foot on Tuesday during a throwing session in Nashville with teammates and will be having surgery today, I'm told. It's a Jones fracture, and he should be able to be on the field early in the season. So let's just, before I begin, so a Jones fracture, if anyone's aware of what of it, or not aware of what that is, that's the same injury that Trent Taylor had. Max, it does matter. He's better than any Packers receiver. He's besides Devontae, obviously. But anyways, a Jones fracture is it's the same thing that Trent Taylor had. It's like connecting the pinky toe with the rest of the foot. They were expected. Rappaport said 12 to 6 weeks. Deebo said he'll be back in 10. Some doctors say 6 to 8, and then you have Trent Taylor that missed the entire season because of this. So, Joel, what are your thoughts on this? Let's just start it off right there.
Well, as you know, I'm more of a basketball guy, and when I hear Jones fracture, I think KD, who had one of those a couple seasons ago, he had a myriad of foot problems, and I think that was one of the big ones, and that plagued him for pretty much the whole year. So, I mean, I'm basing off of what everyone says. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, and I'm assuming based on what Deebo said. I'm just going off of what they're saying that hopefully he'll maybe miss the first couple games of the season, but it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, we shouldn't be looking at something that's, a huge game changer, but it definitely sucks as far as conditioning goes and stuff like that to not be out there for the rest of not be out there for the preseason and not be out there for the stuff,
Yeah, man,
all the
I'm with you on
workouts.
that. I mean, I thought this was going to be the year for him, and now this is just a huge setback. You're missing training camp. I mean, luckily this is one of the good times where we can talk about coronavirus pushing back the season, because then, I mean, if training camp gets canceled or they're not going to cancel training camp. They can't do that. But if it gets pushed back sometime, like September or something, I don't know. I'm just giving a guess. If the season gets pushed back, he'll be fully recovered by training camp. He'll be ready to play by week 1. But yeah, I mean, this sucks for him. I think we'll get into it later, but I think our receiving core right now, this could be a blessing for them in disguise. But we'll talk about that later. But the first question I want to address: what does this mean for him? And this is kind of going off your point, like how he'll be a quick recovery. It'll be a quick recovery for him. I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, his dog mentality, I just know with that he's going to be back on the field soon. He's going to want to be back on the field as soon as possible. So, yes, he may lose some athleticism. Yes, he may lose some explosiveness in the short term. But in the long term, I don't think this will truly affect him. I mean, you were saying that Kevin Durant, like that injury has not really affected him throughout his career, just affected him in the short term. So I think
in the short term, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the short term, it might affect him. No, it's not good. But in the short term, it might affect him. I mean, the long term, it's not really going to do much. I think he'll be back to where he was last season. Hopefully, he'll be able to ball out. But yeah, what do you got? What does this mean for him, Joel?
I mean, you never want lower body injuries, but I mean, I think that it doesn't seem. I mean, it's not a knee. Doesn't seem like it's going to be too devastating. I mean, I think in the short term, maybe early parts of the season, it's going to be a bit sluggish or a bit slow going. But by the end of the year and definitely going into the future, I do not think this is going to be too game-changing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it is a game changer, I think it's a game changer for other receivers, which kind of leads me to my next question. Before I get into that, I also forgot to mention a source told me that this was maybe because of the turf they were playing on. He might have done something there. Not that many people know that. I'm not going to reveal my source or anything, but I think you would probably know, Joel. We don't talk about that, though. All right. Anyways.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, we can talk later about that. But anyways, this leads me to the next question. What does this do for the rest of the team? And first of all, I think this is going to be the two main things that we need to watch is our receivers need to step it up, and we're going to get more runs in the running game. Now, I think our receivers will step it up big time. I'm going to get into that in a sec, but I want to hear is there anything else you think that this is going to affect the team?
I think it's definitely going to put more influence on the run. I mean, I think we're an established good running team, so I don't think that's the end of the world. And we still have threats to throw it to, so it's not like we're a one-trick pony of just rushing or passing. I think that we're balanced in both still. So I don't think the offense should take a massive hit. I think it's just one less guy to throw to. But then it opens the door for other guys. Well, I bet we'll talk about that later. But rookies coming in and, already guys on the team that were looking to have a bigger role, they'll just get a chance to step it up.
Yeah, man. I mean, my next question was who are the guys to watch, but I have so many of them. So, but yeah, I'm with you. We were a running team a lot towards the end of the season, especially in the playoffs. We ran the ball almost all game versus the Packers. And I think that's probably going to have to continue. I don't think if let's say the season started on time, I mean, our first four, I think the latest he would come back would probably be week 4 against the Eagles. And the games that he would miss, Arizona, Jets, and Giants. The Jets are probably going to trade Jamal Adams. He does not want to play for the Jets anymore. The Cardinals, their secondary is okay. I mean, they have Pat Pete, but he's not that good. And then the Giants, their best corner just got arrested. Like, I don't even know if he's going to play again. DeAndre Baker due to those legal issues that he had off the field. But so I'm not too worried. And plus their run Ds are not that good. Our first half of the schedule, like we're really lucky that we have that our first 7 weeks.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, our hardest game is week 1, and that's like a Cardinals team that's pretty inexperienced at this point. And with all of this going on, all of the COVID stuff going on, I think that's definitely going to affect them a lot. So I think it's not going to matter too much if the season starts on time. And the reason why that it's not going to matter too much, another reason is because of the guys that we need to watch. So, I mean, I'm just gonna say the running backs are obviously going to watch. The receivers are the main people we're going to watch. So let me slow down for a bit. Running backs and receivers are the 2 positions we need to watch the most. And the 2 running backs I got, McKinnon and Coleman, they're both on contract years, so they're going to want to step it up. It seems like most of it's going to be the number 1 back. I mean, honestly, and then you got Wilson, Ahmed, and JaMychal Hasty, who I think are all fighting for that last roster spot for the running backs. So I think they're going to try to step it up a big time, try to capitalize on this because they're going to get more opportunities. So, yeah, that's what I got for running backs. So you got any other guys for running backs you want to watch, or any things that you need to watch
running backs? I agree. I think Mostert definitely is the primary guy, and splitting it up, getting McKinnon in the mix this year, and then Coleman, both them kind of splitting up the second spot. And I think you got a collection of guys fighting for the third spot. I think the guys I'm going to be watching primarily are the receivers. But, I mean, considering we're going to get more into running, it's always good to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, you got to watch the receivers. I mean, when a receiver goes down, that's the main position you're going to watch, the receivers. But, I mean, you could honestly say that every receiver is someone to watch. But the 2 guys I really want to watch step it up this year, one is Kendrick Bourne, because now with Deebo out for a little bit, if he's going to miss that week 1 game or further on, he's going to be our number 1 guy going into the season. He's also on a contract year. He's worked his ass off. I mean, you've just seen on Instagram, he's done so much this offseason. The other guy is Dante Pettis. Again, he had a really bad down year last year. He's looking to make that roster spot, fight for against Juwan Jennings. I think is the guy he's really going after. And according to Kittle, he looks really good in those workouts. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Dante Pettis. I mean, I've never been a Pettis doubter. I've always really liked him, but I'm hoping he could step it up this year. So, yeah.
I'm hoping the best for Pettis too. I had 2 main guys in mind as well. One's also Bourne, going to be our main guy. I think that you've seen the work he's put in. Hopefully he gets a chance to show it off and, step it up and play to that high level that we all know that he can be capable of being. The other one is Jalen Hurd. He's effectively a rookie this year, says he didn't get to play last year. And looking at his just physical tools, 6'4", almost 6'5", 40-yard vert. We were talking about all this earlier. Pretty solid 40-yard dash. Not a speed demon, but not slow either. As a red zone threat, and just what Shanahan can do with him, I think that he's going to be awesome to watch.
I know.
I think he could be a free. I mean, that's a tight end body with pretty good wide receiver speed, and a 40-yard. I mean, he's just. He's the one that I'm the most excited to see, considering we didn't get to see him last year. But I think Bourne is going to be our number 1 guy. So obviously, I'm interested to see what he's going to do too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And maybe you could even say the practice squad guys are going to try to step it up. I know Poindexter last year, he was a fringe, maybe like fringe making the roster, a practice squad guy, and then he tears his ACL, misses everything. And then also Chris Fink, the undrafted free agent out of Notre Dame. I've heard a lot of hype about this guy. I need to do some research on him. I haven't really done too much research on the undrafted free agents besides like Maiden and a few other guys. But yeah, I'm hoping to do an undrafted free agent breakdown fairly soon. So stay tuned for that. And then also, we didn't mention him, but George Kittle. He's going to have so much more opportunity in the passing game with that. I mean, he was our number one receiver in 2018, if I'm being real. So he's going to have so much more opportunity in the passing game. He is in a contract year. I think we're going to hopefully extend him by the end, but by the beginning of the season, I think that's our number one priority right now. So it shouldn't be a contract year for him. But I mean, when you're talking about contract year, Kendrick Bourne's really going to want to step it up so he can get paid again, so he can get back on the team, or he can make some money somewhere else. So he's definitely going to be a guy to watch for everything. So before we end the video, just got two more things. So when do you think Deebo will be back, Joel? Like, are you optimistic or pessimistic about this? Final thoughts.
I want to balance it a bit of both. I mean, obviously, best case scenario is he's back by training camp and he can start the season. I'm going to say, I mean, you hope for the best, but that's rarely what happens. I think the ideal goal, balancing, kind of both ends of the spectrum, misses like he missed 3 games against Cardinals, Jets, Giants. If he misses any one of those 3 games, I mean, I think that's best case scenario because I don't think it's going to be a huge loss without him. You also don't want to rush him back. It's not too bad of an injury. Then again, it's not, a super short-term thing. So I think that's probably ideal with the kind of taking everything into account.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when this first came out, Jones fracture, that's just like the first thing I thought of was Trent Taylor, who is another guy we should watch. I didn't mention him, but he's going to be coming back. Another guy off the Jones injury. We can maybe see how he's doing with that foot injury, see how maybe that translates to Deebo, how he does. But I mean, I honestly have no clue when Deebo's going to be back. But I mean, that dog mentality he has in him, I know that he's going to want to be back on the field sooner than later. He said 10 weeks. So I'm going to buy that. I'm going to say 10 weeks maybe. But obviously this is really just impossible to predict because this could be a 6-week thing. This could be an entire season thing. So I'm just praying for the best. We'll see what happens. But knowing Deebo, I think that puts me a bit more on the optimistic side. Last thing before we end. This just broke before we started this. Jamal Adams wants out of New York. The 49ers are one of the teams that wants him. Obviously, in my opinion, he is the best safety in the game. I've wanted him ever since draft day 2017. I wanted him so badly over Solomon Thomas. And then we took Thomas. He's balled out. I've wanted him ever since. All the trade rumors, I've always just prayed that we can get him. And now it's like, this is the best chance we're going to have at getting him. It's going to be a lot, but I want to hear, first of all, Joel, what do you think of this? And do you have a trade you have a trade that might work out for both teams?
Well, when you have the opportunity to get someone as good as he is, you obviously got to explore it. I mean, we were talking a little bit before we started this. What was the combination? It was going to take a first, Quan or Ford, and then
Tart.
Tart, yeah. So, I mean, Ford and Quan were both in and out of the lineup last year, but you obviously saw the impact they had when they played and they were healthy. And I mean, they're really important. So I am probably a little more pro keep those guys, don't get Adams. But then again, I wouldn't be upset if we did, knowing the effect he could have being, the best safety in the game. So you're clearly more pro. I mean, I'm not anti on him, but you seem to be much more pro on him than I am. So I'm more in the camp of keep our guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved watching him play, but I mean, it's going to be a lot. If we want to get him, it's going to be a lot considering that, first of all, this dude's the best safety in the game. He's on a rookie contract, which you don't get often for one of the best players in the game. So you're going to have to give up a lot for him. And it's going to be hard because we're going to have to dump salary if we want to pay, because we got to pay.
That's true.
We got to pay him, Kittle, Warner, Nick Bosa in a few years. These are all in next few years. I think we have to pay Jimmy G again. We got a ton of guys we got to pay if we want to keep it up. Obviously, we're not going to pay everyone. We'll see how it plays out. But I think Jamal Adams, like, this is a guy that you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to make him the highest paid safety in the league. And if you can't do that, then he's leaving because that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And you just put that in retrospect. If he wants to be the highest paid player on the Jets, right now the highest paid player is C.J. Mosley. He's being paid $17 million a year. So you're going to have to pay a lot for him. As Joel said, the trade I would probably propose, you'd have to give up Tart. You'd have to give up a pick, probably a first or a second. I'm assuming a first. And then probably Ford or Quan Alexander. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens here. But I think if we do get him, that's going to be a huge for us because, one, we dump salary, and two, we have a guy on a rookie contract for 2 more years, plus we can franchise tag him after that. So I think if we get him, that would be clutch. But it's going to be a long shot, in my opinion. Again, I've always said that with other guys. Trent Williams, I said that. Yeah, there's a ton of other guys I've said, it's going to be a long shot to get, and John Lynch works his magic. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we can get him, but I'm only one if we give up like a king's ransom for it, if we're giving up like Tart, Ford, Quan, and a first, then no way in hell. But if we're giving up like 2 players in a pick, I think you got to consider it. I mean, with that talent,
I think you convinced me. I think that if we could pull it off for 2 guys and a pick, franchise tag him in a couple of years, and dump a little salary, I think you got to strongly consider it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't. It's all. I think all it is do the Jets want to take on salary? Because if they're willing to do that, then I think we have one of the best chances of getting him. If they're not willing to take on salary, then there's no way we're getting him. Because, I mean, then you have to give up him and Kittle, which there's no way I want to give up Kittle, considering that he is the X factor. He's the X factor of our offense. Again, I am also saying this. As I'm saying this, you could argue that Jaquiski Tart and D Ford are the X factors of our defense. Again, Adams would come in. He's better than Tart. But then D Ford, it would be a huge loss. But then, I mean, with that stacked of a D line, I don't think it would matter too much. You could do Armstead, Bosa, DJ Jones, and Kinlaw. Yeah, that's a good starting 4. You might have to find a speed rusher later. But, I mean, you could honestly, if they want to bring back someone like Cassius Marsh, they could do that. I mean, he would be a fine speed rusher. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Those are just my thoughts. Obviously, we don't know. And by the way, in case anyone was wondering, the teams that he is willing to accept a trade from, let me just read them really quickly if this can load. Yeah, so Ravens, Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers, Seahawks. So I hope that out of all those teams, the only other team I really want to see him is with the Texans because we never play them. I don't think they're going to reach a Super Bowl soon, considering that stacked AFC. But any other team, that could be a problem for us. Eagles, I mean, maybe the Eagles are fine, but considering I think we're better than them, but in the long run, that might not be a good idea. So we'll see what happens with that. You got any final thoughts, whether it's on Jamal Adams, Deebo, anything you want to share?
Just to the Jamal Adams thing, if we miss out on him and he ends up going to Seattle, Baltimore, Chiefs, I mean, that is scary. Because
I don't think he'd go to Baltimore. Like,
no,
what do they have to? What do they have? Seattle could do it.
One where it's like Seattle could do it, and I mean,
actually, wait,
could Kansas City do it?
Kansas City could probably. I'm trying to think, like, who would you give up on those teams? Because the Niners have some prime guys that are expandable, in my opinion. Seahawks, I don't really see. I mean, honestly, you might have to give up Bobby Wagner if you're the Seahawks, like, or maybe even. Yeah. I mean, they don't really have that many guys on that defense in that secondary. Shaq Griffin may be one of those guys, but yeah, I mean, Chiefs. I'm trying to. I mean, obviously, I follow the Niners a lot more than every other team, but I don't really. It's going to be hard for a lot of teams to give him up. I think Cowboys definitely have the best chance, considering that he's stated that Dallas is his number 1 place, probably. So, I mean, and they have all the assets they need to give up. So, I think Dallas is our chance. But I think you're looking at us right now. We're a dark horse contender. I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, no way it can happen." Just watch John Lynch work his magic. I mean, he's more than capable of doing that. So,
more than capable.
We'll see what happens with that. Any other final thoughts you got to share?
Nope. I Just a good video, and we covered a lot. I got nothing else to share.
All right, perfect. I'm going to end it right here. This was a pretty short video. Just wanted to break down the news, break down the Jamal Adams stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Go Niners.
All right. Go Niners.